So there's basically there's a couple different drugs. And so the biggest thing to understand is that every doctor is going to have a different preference. Understand that you might not get it a home run. I think that my experience with blood thinners is a perfect analogy that I would not wish on anybody, but it's like, I literally took the two most popular blood thinners and I clotted on both of them, and they were not a good fit for me. It took two different blood clots before we finally tried. It was the third blood thinner medication that then it was like, okay, we got this under wraps. Sometimes it be like that. And you just, your body is unique and you might not hit it on the first go. With thyroid stuff, again, it's a slow course to figure out what dose do I need to be on. And then also, am I on the right drug for me? So basically there's two different types. You can be on a man-made or a synthetic one. So this would be like your Synthroid, which is what a lot of people are on. It's basically just all T4 medication. I got stuff in my mouth. Look at me over here. Hot mess. You can also take desiccated. So basically that comes from little piggies, or I don't know if it comes from other animals, but I know for sure desiccated means that it comes typically from pigs. But if you go the desiccated route that comes from animals, it typically contains a little bit of T4 and a little bit of T3. So that would be your Armour thyroid, your Nature thyroid. There's MP thyroid, WP thyroid. The big take home here is, again, it's like ultimately whatever your doctor loves prescribing is probably what you're going to roll with. And you might end up with a combination. You can also actually just take T3. It's a drug called Cytomel, and it's another synthetic one. But for me personally, I took Synthroid for years and years, and I just never had luck with it. Like, it was always this big hurdle. It's like we would like get it, and then the next time I'd draw labs, like things would be poo-poo again. And so we were always just like, we could never meet in the middle. And so it was actually when I started working with Sean, which would have been maybe around like 2018, 2019. That was the first time I went desiccated. I was taking Armour thyroid. So again, T4 and T3. And so it was like we started getting things moving in the right direction, but my free T3 was still low. And so I actually do a combo of both. So I do Cytomel, which is the T3, and I also do the Armour thyroid. But again, it's like this is where you have to work closely with your doctor. And so again, if you have a doctor that like literally gets out pen and paper, is like, here's a prescription. See you in 6 months.
In 6 months. Yeah.
No. Like, again, this is where you need to advocate for yourself. You need to get uncomfortable and be like, hey, actually, how about I see you in like 2 to 3 months? Because your goal, if you're newly on prescription, and it's like, you want to get to feeling good as fast as you possibly can. But again, it does take time for this stuff to roll in. So I'm a big advocate. I like to check my labs every 2 to 3 months, whether or not I feel good. And the reason for that is we actually want labs of what, if you feel like A+, if you're like, yo, I'm 100%, well, we want to know what those labs look like so that when we're not there, we know where we could be. And I think that's great.
That's great advice.
That's a big thing people miss, though, is it's like people only go get labs when they feel good. And it's like, well, bro, if you're already running hypo, you're already down here. And now we're on the reactive side of stuff. And we always want to be on the proactive. Like, we want to see stuff going downhill so that we can try to adjust course. We can stop and pause and be like, yo, okay, what am I doing? And it might just be as simple, right? It's like, yo, I've been going out with the girls more often. I've been drinking a little more, or my sleep's been sucky. Maybe I started a new training program. I've been going really hard. We want to be able to, stop and kind of analyze and be like, okay, when my labs were really good, what did my habits and what did my lifestyle, what did that look like? What does it look like now when my labs aren't so great? And then can we meet in the middle, right?
I love data. You can see, because you can see that trending over time. Like, if your stuff's going, like if you were, like you said, you would like to operate like your T3 is in like the 3s or something, and you start see it trickling down, then it's kind of red flag to say, hey, like, what am I doing? Do I need to adjust my medication? Do I need to adjust my lifestyle?
And I would just say this too. It's like, even if you're not somebody that maybe you don't love data. Maybe you're like, yo, I don't have an Apple Watch. I don't have a Whoop. I don't have an Oura Ring. I don't like all the data. At the end of the day, you need to know and understand your illness, or you need to know and understand whatever it is that you might be dealing with. Because again, it's like that whole education equals empowerment equals I can have a really good conversation with my doctor. It's like, for me personally, I quite literally can look at my labs and I already know what my doctor is going to say, or I already know the medication suggestions, changes that my doctor is going to make before we even get together and meet. It's like, you don't have to necessarily be on that level, but almost you kind of should be, right? Like that would be a great goal.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, I understand the basics. I understand the things that influence my condition. Because again, it's like your doctor's only going to have a short amount of time with you. So when you get in, you want to be able to go hit some cannonballs and be able to have a good, again, back and forth discussion rather than for a lot of people, it's just like, oh, okay, I have this thing. Well, cool. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
go live my lifestyle I've been living. And if nothing changes, right? Like that's
Yeah.
true.
That's also, it is good to have somebody like a coach who understands some of this stuff and can guide on, how to have these conversations with your doctor, with your physician, for sure.
Yeah, 100. And to kind of tack on to you, it's like I mentioned, I love seeing people, if you're like, hey, I take thyroid medication, I love to see you checking that stuff every 2 to 3 months. I wish it could be more common practice to see people pull a full hormone panel once a year or every 6 months. Like the problem is, depending again on your insurance and this and that, it's like
Mhm.
it can be really expensive. But it's like if you're going to invest in one thing, man, invest in your health, right? It's
Yeah.
like if
Yeah.
as again, I will say, if you're doing all the right things and you feel like you're spinning the wheels in the sand, if you have the ability to start opening up your pocketbook and be like, yo, let's check under the hood, let's get to digging. I'm such a big advocate for that because again, it's like there's just some stuff where it's, if I had a client and they came back, they popped back for thyroid stuff, it's like, cool. We know exactly what changes we
So, and
can start
exactly
making.
what we
It's
need to
like
do.
we got a
Yeah.
checklist of, okay,
Yeah.
where are you smashing? Where are we, falling short?
Mhm.
And then it quickly becomes something, that we can remedy and resolve, which I think is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.